If you ever work on the front suspension of your car, you will invariably need to remove a ball joint. Now these can be steering links, they can be upper control arms, various points on the front suspension that use ball joints. Now, a word of caution here. If you have a spring front end, this one is not, by the way. If you have a spring in your front end, be very careful. Do not work on that front end unless you understand the principles behind it. You do not want that spring coming out. So I'm not talking about parts that are under heavy load. But in this case, I want to inspect this upper control arm. I want to find out if the bushings are tight, and I want to find out if the ball joint is good. And I can't do that when it's all bolted together because it's under tension. So to remove this ball joint, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can use a pickle fork. And you can put the pickle fork in here and you can hammer on it and bang it loose. Well, the problem with using a pickle fork is that you will damage the boot. So you do not want to use pickle forks unless you plan to replace the part. The other option is there's a couple different types of ball joint removal tools that you can use to put up in here and crank down. You do have to be careful with those too because they can also cut this rubber boot. If you cut the rubber boot, the grease is going to come out and the ball joint will fail in the future. So one trick you can use is to take a hammer. You want to loosen the bolt up, or correction, loosen the nut up, but not all the way off, and then you want to wrap on the side right here like this. And you just hit around, and eventually that will snap down and loosen up from the tapered shaft. If that does not come off, then you may have to resort to a tie rod removal tool like this. You can actually set this in place, tighten it down, and once it's tight, then come in and just give it a wrap, and that's usually enough to remove it. So that's the way to remove a ball joint when you do not want to damage the rubber boot.